Okay, so it's Friday, which is group therapy day. I hate it. But nobody else called in again. So it was just an extra session with me and my therapist. And we talked a little bit about what's been happening with my YouTube and why it upsets me so much. And I will go ahead and put this out. The reason I stopped replying to it is because my family is in the comments of those videos now. And it's becoming too toxic for my mindset, knowing that my aunt is over there. And she's a big part of why I can't take criticism now. Because growing up, my entire childhood, I was never trying to figure out how to phrase this the way that she phrased it, right? Like, I never was allowed to be like everybody else in my family. My parents didn't buy me stuff that they bought for my sisters. My grandparents did. And so my parents would say, well, since they're buying her things, we don't have to. And that would leave me having to wear hand me downs that hadn't been washed and stunk to school. And at my grandparents on the weekends, I would have all of these fancy clothes. I had a trampoline, I had a go kart, I had games, I had everything a kid could ask for at my grandparents. But at home, I didn't have anything at all because I couldn't take things home, or my sisters would take them, and my parents wouldn't buy anything for me. And everybody else in the family was angry that I was being spoiled by my grandparents when literally nobody else was going to take care of me. Like, I'll admit my grandparents spoiled me. It was a two-way street though, because they were reliving raising their children through me. I was their second chance. Do y'all get what that is? A lot of people, when they're younger and they have kids and they can't properly raise their kids because they're working or because they're being abused, which my grandmother was. When they're older in life and they're more financially stable and mentally stable, they want to have a second chance at raising their children. And they obviously can't unless they take one of their children's children. That happens sometimes. And the grandparents will just kind of commandeer a child. This is mine now. And in the South, this is kind of normal. I bet a lot of you spent a lot of time with your grandparents in the South. But for my family, it was only me that got commandeered. My grandmother had like 35 grandchildren, and she didn't buy the rest of them trampolines and go-karts, you know? So I can accept that she treated me much different than she treated her own children and the rest of her grandchildren. But at the same time, she was doing it because the way the rest of the family was treating me. And she wanted to make sure I had a normal life because I wasn't going to. I couldn't do anything without being dragged down. Um, like they called my parents to tell them that I was reading at a college level in middle school, and my dad told them not to call again unless I set the school on fire. He could teach a monkey to read. It didn't mean anything. Nothing I accomplished ever meant anything. If I won awards at school, no, my parents wouldn't show up. They didn't care. Nobody cared except my grandmother. And that hatred has followed me all my life. I've felt like I can't do anything like everybody else can do. And even after I published my book, like most people would be proud of publishing a book on their own. I'm not allowed to be proud of it because I got hate for it. My aunt was the very first person to review it, and she lied and said it was all lies. And now I have been on my own without my grandmother since 2015. And my aunt is still watching and stalking and planting lies to try to tear me down because I'm not allowed to thrive. I'm not allowed to succeed at anything. I'm not allowed to work. Like other people, they can have a YouTube and it can be considered their job. It'll never be considered a job for me, even if I have over 1 million subscribers, because it's me and I'm not allowed to have that kind of work. I published a book, but I'm not allowed to be a writer because it's me. And a lot of y'all won't understand this. My family has spent my entire life breaking me down to where I have no self-esteem and I have no self-worth. And now these men are starting to break me down further. And there's my family right there in the comments section. And people tell me I'm crazy. They tell me, no, your family's not doing this. Your aunt's like 80 years old. Why would she be spending her time following you on YouTube? She was there, y'all. She lied and said that she gave me $10,000 to leave her family alone in January of 16. The only person that gave me $10,000 in 2016 was my Aunt Kathy. And it wasn't to leave her family alone. It was a part of my grandmother's insurance after she passed away. The second part was supposed to be the reading of the will, where I was supposed to get the condo, the property, the Jeep, and the $250,000 that was still in the bank account. And supposedly there was another bank account set up for me. There was a trust fund. There's still a trust. It'll never be turned over to me or unlocked for me. And it's not enough for them. I've been literally homeless. And they're still stalking and watching and planting seeds of hate to infect me and keep me down and keep me reminded that these hateful people that drag me down will always be there. 5 years I haven't contacted this woman and she's there in those comments. That's not healthy. And that's toxic on a level that I don't want to be. I don't want to be like her. I don't want to be near 80 and still so vindictive and hateful that I'm going after somebody that's been homeless for years and still denying any mental health issues. She clearly has mental health problems herself if she can't let me go. And they've spent my whole life denying my mental health, telling me that there's nothing wrong with me. I'm just lazy and stupid and spoiled. And it's too much. It's too much now that I know that it was already hard enough for me because I can't take criticism. I can't handle being laughed at. And me and my therapist talked about this today. The reason I can't handle being laughed at is because I've never had an opportunity to be laughed at where it wasn't intentionally cruel and hateful and trying to hurt me. The reason I feel like everybody hates me and everybody wants to hurt me is because that's all I've ever had. Literally, my own family hates me and wants to hurt me. It's all I've ever known. Y'all are going to flatter yourselves and make yourselves feel special because you hurt me, but it's not hard to do when I have the issues that I have. I didn't mean for this video to be as long as it is. Sorry.